What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. A few weeks ago, I had a company hit me up, asking me if I would like to try out some of their LED lights and some other products on one of my builds. So I said, sure. So about a week later, these three packages right here arrived, and this is from Mictuning. And we're going to go over all of this right here on today's video. They sent me some different things out. The number one thing they sent me out here is an 8-gain RGB LED switch panel. This right here switch panel is like the main hub for everything aftermarket, as far as aftermarket lights or radios or seat heaters or whatever you want. You can run all the power wires to the main hub, which is like a fuse block, and then you got a switch panel you can mount anywhere on the dash. So you run all your accessories to one spot, and you only mount your one switch pod in one area on the dash or wherever you want to. So this right here will definitely clean up the look of your golf cart if you plan on putting on a golf cart or UTV, ATV, boats, Jeeps, you name it. So we got that. They also sent out some LED flush mount lights. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to use this on my golf cart, just due to the fact that there's not really any spots on the golf cart that I'm going to drill holes and put some lights like this right here into. We're at least going to hook them up on today's video and check them out anyway. They also sent out an 8-piece RGBW rock light kit. We're going to check these out as well. Let's get started in today's video. Now we're going to power today's video and the accessories on today's video with this Power Queen 12-volt 190 amp hour lithium battery. In an upcoming video, we're going to test this battery's capacity out. Let's see if it's truly 190 amp hours of capacity. All right, guys, so this is everything that's included in the box. Notice you have your main fuse block here. This is the main hub of the entire system. I just removed the cover. So on the cover, it only goes on one way. You have two tabs on one side here and one main tab. What's great about that is this right here. With the two smaller tabs, that's going to be your positive input of the fuse block. And at the top, that's going to be your negative input of the fuse block right here. Now you're going to run this right here to your main negative of the battery. This is going to go to the main positive of the battery. And each individual fuse right down here, you have two screws, so you got a positive and a negative. You got your RGB main power switch here with extension cable. You have a resettable fuse right here in case it does trip. This is an 80 amp breaker, so if it does trip, you can just switch it back after you get whatever it is fixed. You have a customizable logo buttons right here, and all of these buttons will go on these 8 right here. So let's say you mount a horn, you can put a horn right here, just peel it off, stick it right there, and there's a horn. So it comes with some wire ties, comes with some extra fuses, mounting hardware as well. Instruction manual, you have some mounting brackets, and you also have some power and ground wires as well. This right here is going to be your circuit breaker. You got 2 waterproof covers that goes on the bolts here on the back. Got 2 extra holes back here for mounting. And let's just say some power touches ground and it trips. This is what it's going to look like if it's tripped. It means you're going to have to hit the reset and just push it back over, and you're good to go. This is a clear cover. It's got 4 mounting tabs on the bottom of it there, 2 on each side. You can just push it back in place, and it's a cover to protect it. So we have 2 different power wires here that's included in the kit, and if you notice, they're different. Both of them have 2 smaller terminals on one side, and they have a smaller one on one side and a larger one on the other side. The larger terminal is going to go towards your battery. The smaller one is going to go to your circuit breaker. And this one with both small terminals on the front and the back of it, it's going to go between the circuit breaker and the fuse block. The same goes for your ground here. The larger terminal is going to go for the battery. The smaller one right there is going to go to the grounding block of the fuse block itself. Now once we reset the breaker, let's see what happens. Now we have power on the fuse block, shows the red LED indicator. We're going to go ahead and hit the power button here on the switch panel. There we go. So as we open it up here, we notice that got 4 mounting bolts here. This is our flush mount LED light. You have 4 LED lights in the very center, but if you look closely, there's also going to be spots for an LED light across the perimeter of the light itself. All right, finally, let's check out these rock lights here. Let's see exactly what's in the box, what everything contains. It looks like there's an app that we can use as well. So we got an Mictuning app instruction. There's a Bluetooth app that we can get with our phone for these here. We have a wiring diagram right there. So this right here is going to be like a mounting block itself. Basically, it's a big old piece of rubber, as you can tell. We could take our plug here, and we can actually use our plug and mount it like so if we need to. If you want to run it up the side, or if you want to run it at an angle, you can do that as well. You can take the plug and run it directly out the very bottom and just mount it like that. That'd be perfect. But each pod has 6 LED lights right there. Now in the box, you're going to have 4 with black ties on it and 4 with white ties. The ones with the black ties will have like a 12-foot leader on it. And the ones with the white ties here, these have like a 6-foot leader. So mount them in different locations and different spots. You got some right here that these are rounded on the very back side. So in case you wanted to mount this, say to like a bar, kind of like a roll bar mount, if you can see how it's grooved in there. Still has the hole in the middle and the extra slots if you want to mount it at the bottom or at one corner. 8 flat ones and 4 with the tube mount on there, or this curved mount. And then we have our main control box right here. If you notice, the main control box has 2 pigtails on it. Each one of these pigtails here will go to each light. Now on the opposite side of the box, the one with the 1 lead on it, this is going to be our main power and ground input here. You got a switch wire here, and as you notice, there's only 2 terminals on there, if you can see that. It only goes one way, screwed into place just like that. Then it gives you a switch to turn them on or off. So there's 2 different ways of mounting these things. Let's just go ahead and say we want to surface mount it. And wherever you plan on mounting your light, there's no holes or anything to access it behind that panel or the frame or wherever. Just take our rubber pad, place it down. We can exit our wire through the bottom or the sides or the corner. It's up to you. Then once we are mounting screw directly from the light itself going into the panel, your wire will exit the bottom like so. Or if you do have room behind it and you have a hole, where you can exit the wire at the bottom of this rubber mount here, slide it into place, exit out the bottom. There's no wire being seen. Makes a pretty good looking mount there. All right, guys, for product demonstration, this is what we've done. I went ahead and drilled 6 holes, and we went ahead and flush mount these right here through the piece of wood just to indicate like there's a frame and you had a hole behind it where you could drop the wire so it wouldn't be seen. I went ahead and did 6 of those like that. I went ahead and did this one right here to a surface mount. And we got this one right here mounted with one of the bar style mounts. It's got the groove inside of it. Off camera, I went ahead and took my power and ground wire that's included with just the rock lights, hooked them to the 12-volt battery. And we can take the switch on and off here that's included in the kit. Once you have that mounted, just turn it on and your light should start working. Now just running through the RGB synchronization process of the app, where it's just going through all the different colors here. You can fine tune all of these colors with the app itself. Now that's nice and that's neat and all of that, but why have this right here power wire here and this switch if you guys are going to be running the 8-gang switch block? So we're going to install that next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unhook the power and ground from the battery itself. And in my case, I'm not going to use the switch itself. Basically, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut mine right here. Now this right here is gonna serve no purpose for us when it can be thrown away. That's gonna give us 2 wires, your power and your ground. We can strip these right here 2 back as well and hook them into our main control board of our 8-gang unit. All right, guys, so I have the rock lights mounted. I have this right here flush mount light going to one switch, this right here going to an opposite switch. Now I did that to show you, just different light scenarios. So the rock lights there in the corner, we have this light here is on a separate switch than this light over here. So we can control them separately. All right, so you got your rock lights installed. You got your other lights installed. Those are pretty simple, right? Hypothetically speaking, let's just say this is a horn and not a light. So if this is going to be a horn, we don't want this right here horn to work on and off. And what I mean by that is you want to make this right here one switch momentary. Can you do that? Well, the answer is yes. So the brightness button here, you're going to hold it down until all the lights in here turn red one time. Once they go off, I'm going to hit the switch right here since that's where that one is connected to. Once that switch is selected, now we're going to turn it off by power. Now every time we hit this switch, it's going to be momentary power only. So if once we push the switch, it will light up. As soon as we let our finger off of it, it's going to go off. See that? However, this other one right here is still selected on and off. It's staying on when our finger's off of it, and we can turn it on and off. Same goes with the rock lights. Okay, only this one switch here is activated on momentary, and you can make any of these switches momentary switches as well. We want to make this a latched on and off switch again. We're going to hold this right here, dimmer brightness down. Once it flashes red, we're going to deselect it, hit the power switch. Once we go to select it again, it'll stay latched as an on and off switch, just like the rest of them. The middle button here is the dimmer switch, so that's full brightness. You hit it, it just goes down in brightness. On the RGB, you hit it one time, it goes between different colors. Now, if you want this right here, colors to fade in and out, we take the RGB and do long presses. Let's say you want the rock lights to stay on and one of the lights to stay on. So we would select the rock lights. We would select that light there. We want to turn both of these lights off together. We're going to hit the red power button. Once we hit them, both of the lights will shut off. Now, once we hit those again, both of those same lights that we just turned off will power back on. So it just keeps its memory. Now the RGB lights, they have an app that you can get for your phone. On the back of this right here manual, you can either download it through iOS or Google. Once you go ahead and download that, you can now switch the colors of the RGB lights on the rock lights. A lot of these LED lights that you buy will have like amber in it, and they'll have white as well. So your white's your spot or your beam or your flood, whatever. Then you have an amber light. It's sort of like a park light and a headlight, right? So you want to use the amber light just for like park lights or running lights, and then you want to turn on your white lights later on. Well, you can do that, but you can't do it without adding a relay. Let me show you exactly why. Right here on the panel here, you have one ground. It's going into the ground of the first fuse leg. The white wire is going into the amber here. If I hit the switch, the amber light comes on. Now let's say we take this red wire here for our spotlight wire, and we put it to the next fuse. Now once you have your red wire onto the second fuse there, watch what happens when you hit the same power button we hit earlier. Both lights come on. Now why is that? You have one ground, you have one power for the headlight, and you have one power for the amber light. And since this right here board outputs power at all times, the only thing that's switching is the ground. So as you can tell, none of the switches are in the on position, right? Let me show you something about this right here panel from Mictuning. I'm going to turn my ground wire here and touch each power wire going from the switch. That's got voltage on it. That one's got voltage on it. This one has voltage on it. And this one has voltage on it. All of the legs are constantly hot on this right here. However, once you hit a button for like this one right here, this one still has power on it, but what it's doing is it's switching the ground from on and off. Okay? So we can tell that by taking the multimeter and going to continuity setting, the setting right here. So right now, between this ground here and this ground, we will not have any ground signal. Now, if we hit the button down here, we'll have a constant signal. So if you want to use two different switches with a 3-wire combo like this right here, you need to add a relay in line. Now I'm using a regular 12 volt, 30 amp relay. We want to put the power leg to the relay from the 86 and 30. Then I'm going to take a ground wire on 85. I'm going to put an end here on this one wire here so we can plug it directly into the relay. We're going to plug it into 87 right here at the very top. All right, so there it goes. Everything's wired up. The relay is in place. Now you can go ahead and turn the amber lights on with one switch. And the relay will click once it has a ground signal to it because it's already getting power. So once we give it a ground signal here from the unit, both lights will turn on. The clicking you hear is the relay. Pretty simple. Thought I'd share that with you. Well guys, that pretty much wraps up today's video. I can find multiple uses just for these lights, and especially this switch relay board here, this 8-gang switch. I was just thinking a minute ago, you know, you could really probably use this a lot. It's the guys and the volunteer firefighters. They could use this as well. They usually have lights and sirens on their trucks. This would be a cleaner look to mount all your lights, maybe some of your sirens, since you could take a latched position and make it a momentary position on your switches. Remember that, where we can just take one and make it a momentary, and you can make all of them momentary if you want, or just half of them. That's up to you. Okay, this right here is a game changer when it comes to the golf cart world, I believe. And I can't wait to put it on my golf cart. This is just going to make everything so much more simpler. No more mounting switches and having different spots of switches or making sure that the holes line up. We can just mount this one thing right here, this one module on the dash, and we can have our switches at our fingertips. We can turn them on and off all by this one button here. We can change the dim or the brightness here of the backlight of the switches itself, and we can change the colors of the switches also. So I know for a fact I'm gonna run my rock lights on today's video. I'm not sure if I'm going to run these lights or not on that golf cart just yet. I know I'm gonna mount some wheel lights on there. Probably gonna do a headlight switch. Probably gonna do a amber running light switch as well. Then I'll have 4 other lights. I've thought about it also incorporating my FNR switches on these 2 right here. Maybe I'll make a different video for that, but it's pretty simple as well. I like the fact that we can use this right here, hide everything in the golf cart. It just makes sense to me. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate you watching today's video. If you like this right here kind of stuff, I'm going to put all the links to everything I've made on today's video in the description below, along with some other things that Mictuning sells. Also, along with one of these Power Queen batteries here. I'll put a link to this down in the description as well. Now, we just got this battery we're going to be using on one of our golf carts, and in an upcoming video, we're going to check the capacity and see if it's truly 190 amp hour capacity. This would run your accessories on a golf cart for a long time. And then you don't have to worry about pulling power away from your main lithium. You have just accessory lithium power as well. So be sure to stay tuned for that video. It's going to be coming out soon. And game changer. I think this is a game changer. Anyways, guys, I appreciate you watching. Like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. Until next time, we will see y'all later. Bye.